Anyway, lastly, before we let you go, I want you to speak on something.
Yeah.
Through your career,
Yeah.
through the challenges you've gone through in life, what are 3 key principles that you believe that if one could apply that in their life, it will make some huge progress towards having a successful life? Maybe not 3, maybe 1, whatever. Just
Okay, 2 things.
Yeah.
I'll start with 2. Maybe I can get a 3rd one. And they're very practical. I find that human beings cannot really function the best without a structure. And many of us don't have structures in our life. For me, I need a structure to be successful in whatever I do. And I'll tell you why. I have a tendency to focus on some things and leave out some important things. And the only way, when I left school, I thought timetable was useless. But the more I grow, I realized that I needed timetable because it brought in structure into my life. So I tell people, get a structure. That structure must be built around principles. Are you getting it? For example, what are the principles to create wealth? For example, let's talk about financial independence. Your income must be more than what you're spending. You must take care of, and you must look for opportunity to convert, and you must be investing in assets that are generating income. Those basic things, you must focus on, spending your money to create asset, not liabilities. Your cash flow and some other things. They are very basic, right? Build a structure around it. So when your salary comes in, build a structure around your life that will make sure that you are putting money in the right place. If you don't, something will always pop up from around the world that will take this money. You need structure. If you know you have a tendency not to read, put a structure around your life that will force you to do it. Read. Because you need that education. It doesn't have to be whatever it is you choose to read, but you need that training. You need to keep developing yourself. Some people have left school, they've never read anything for some years of their life. How do you want to compete in a world that's changing every second? So you need structures in your life. Even spiritually, you need some discipline to be able to pray and do whatever you have to do. So that's the first one, structure. 2, when things don't work out for you, don't give excuses, cut off excuses from your life, and you will make it, honestly. Personally, I believe that's one of the things that I encourage everybody to be careful. You see, the way I say excuses is simple. And because I'm in the UK and there's a lot of excuse going on. So I had the opportunity at some point in my life to have, and I still do, I still teach children. I support children with so myself and my wife, we run free classes, GCSE classes for children to help them prepare for the GCSEs. And when I come to class and I see these children, the first thing I try to get out of them is excuses. They tell me the reason why they can't do stuff.
Take responsibility.
And there are 2 problems with that. When you give excuse, nobody gives excuse for success.
No, whatever you make an excuse for in life, you get to keep. You keep it.
Yeah, because the reason why you're giving an excuse is making yourself feel comfortable for failing.
So you keep it.
And then you keep it. So excuses are really bad because then you say, everybody fails mass, so you have to fail. As long as you keep justifying that failure, you can't really walk out of it. You need to shut your mouth and take responsibility. It's not easy. It's not easy. Because
no.
You may have genuine reasons. You may say, for example, my father died, my mother died, and those are really bad situations.
See, the problem is, these excuses, it's a habit that is built.
It is a habit.
In life, we create habits, and those habits create the future we have.
Yes.
Some people, have been brought up in homes where excuses are accepted.
Yes.
So they've now integrated from their home as children into a society that even in a workplace, I say this every day at work. For example, people give you excuse. I'm thinking, are you serious?
Yes. No, I mean, if you want to look for excuse, you get a million. There's always excuses.
Absolutely.
But then the second thing about excuse that is terrible is that it shuts down your brain. You stop thinking. You remember when we first started, after our masters, we were trying to get a job. We struggled to get a job in this system, right?
Yep.
And the easiest route for us is to say, they are racist. We give excuses. But when we start to see differently and say, look, am I doing something wrong? What could it be? Can I review my CV and write it in a different way? We see that maybe, I'm not saying they're not racist. There's people who are always good. Racists are going to be there.
They're always going to be there. But that is not the reason why you're not successful. You are where you are in life because of who you are. It is not because of who other people, what they are doing. It is because of who you are. So if you're not where you want to be in life, it's because you're not who you need to be.
I believe the greatest injustice you can do to your life is to give excuses.
Absolutely.
If you stop, it's really tough. It's a lesson I'm learning. I've been learning for a while. But if you can really just stop, when you have that urge to give an excuse, if you can stop,
I'm going to tell you
and
this
push
now.
a little more, you will
That is
discover
on
that it's-
point, because even in the workplace, one of the most painful things I don't like hearing is when I walk into a meeting and people sit down and tell me what is wrong. And then the next week they'll come again and tell you the same thing is wrong. And the week after that, 1 month on, they're telling you the same thing, and you're thinking, so when are you going to do something about it?
Yeah.
So you're giving me the excuse why you cannot move forward, why you cannot hit plan, but you've never sat here one day to tell me what you're doing about
And
it.
most times, if you just push a little more, it opens the
That's
door.
tiny. That's tiny.
Yeah.
So
Those excuse is just something I really wish we could stop, because excuse is absolutely terrible. It's terrible. And the moment you stop it and just push yourself, I mean, it doesn't mean you don't have genuine ones. I'm saying there are genuine excuses, but sometimes just shut up. Your excuse is really genuine, but just shut up and look again.
That's what I
And you will see
once said.
opportunities.
In life, people produce two things: either reasons or results.
Yeah.
And result is the only one that is accepted, because reasons is just another word
Because
for
with
excuse.
excuse, you can never reach your potential.
Oh no, I was just going to tell you that I've seen the most talented people.
Yeah.
Fall short
Yeah.
of where they could have gotten to in life.
Yeah.
Because the first thing that comes to their mind every time they are asked or something is to make an excuse.
Yeah.
I have seen it over and over.
So, if I'm going to put it simply, stop giving excuses, which means apply yourself a bit more, but don't just fight beating the wind. A lot of us are hardworking, we're not working smart. Are you getting? You have no strategy. Okay, you want to end up being rich at 40, 50, but you have no strategy.
That you're doing a lot does not mean you're achieving a lot.
And I'm sorry to say this. People sometimes, a lot of motion without movement.
Not every movement is progress.
Oh, how do you put? Yeah.
Not every movement is progress.
So what you want to do is, and I can't say this enough, get principles. If you're struggling with your finance, I've seen people say, oh, the reason why I'm not doing something is because nobody's helping me. That's an excuse.
Oh, is there somebody out there helping anybody?
Yeah.
Because can I pass my number to them, please?
Yeah.
I
Nobody's
need
helping me.
help.
Really, you don't. Especially for someone whose views of life have been influenced by God, if you have God, you have more than enough. So if you truly claim I mean, people don't even know God are making it. So why should you now know God?
Because they are applying the right
Exactly.
principle. The Bible is the greatest book I've ever read, because it is filled with principles.
Of course.
It is. I have never seen a book elsewhere that have a quarter of the number of. But people read this thing like,
Look,
they are reading stories.
In real life, if I want to eat corn, I plant corn. But some people are praying for corn.
which is
I'm
funny,
saying
but
nobody's
you
giving
see,
me corn.
You probably know this about me. I keep telling people that I want to win the lottery.
Yeah.
And everybody who knows me knows I don't play the lottery.
Yeah.
And then my friends will turn and like, if you want to win the lottery, are you playing the lottery?
buy a ticket.
I'm like, no, I'm not buying the ticket, because statistically the chances of winning is next to zero. But you want to win the lottery. I'm like, so how are you going to win? I'm like, I'm going to pick the ticket on the ground. But I know deep down within me that that's not going to happen.
Look, if you stop excuses, sorry for going back to this, your brain opens. And what you never saw, you see. There's a book I recommend sometimes to people to read.
You cannot grow if you're
Moved My
making
Cheese.
excuses.
Yeah, Who Moved My Cheese? I can't remember who wrote it. I read it many years ago. Maybe 15 years ago, I can remember. Who Moved My Cheese? So it's a story of some mouse. They get their cheese from a particular location, and one day they came, there was no cheese. And one sat down and started giving excuses, getting angry because somebody would just move it. Why would people do that? Why are people this mean, complaining? The other guy just shook his shoes, ran. Before you know, he's found out that cheese and he's enjoying himself. And these guys are still complaining, I almost died. It's a lovely book. It teaches a lot of life principles. I would encourage people to look at that. 2 books I would recommend. The Richest Man in Babylon,
Very
on
good
finance.
book. Very good book.
Who Moved My Cheese is another book I would encourage you to read. Those 2 books, they are little books, like fables, but they're really good books. And read the Bible. Read a lot of the Bible.
That's amazing, amazing. Ayo, thank you for joining us today.
Yes,
It's
it's a
nice to
pleasure.
have you.
It's a
The
pleasure. I never knew I could talk like this.
I told
thought
you,
I could only do the
when you
YGX.
start the podcast, you just keep going. Guys, thank you for joining us today again. Once again, we've been speaking to Ayo, a doctor here in the UK, studied at the University of Leicester, multiple degrees in mathematics, and you could tell from the way he speaks that this man knows his stuff. I encourage you to watch this video. Subscribe to Insight if you want to get more of these contents that will guide you through life. In the meantime, see you next week.